Good evening, good evening. It is a Sunday. It's a very rare to see us. One more, it's Sunday, the 1st of July. Bath time. How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's the 1st of June, though.
What did I say it was?
July. Time travel.
Did I really say July?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, look, you know what? I'm not wishing my life away. It's the 1st of June. First day of the transfer window, proper transfer window. And we've actually got a signing in. There doesn't seem to be the euphoria that signings normally bring for us. I think that a lot of people in the club are worried. Moving forward, I mean, we'll discuss that anyway, but I'm happy that we've got Cunha in. I'm happy it's the first day of the window. We've actually got a signing done. And it's the first of this pre-window, if you call it, the window that benefits all of those teams in the World Club Cup. But obviously everybody else can do their business as well. So I'm happy. I'm not sure where it brings us, but I'd much rather we sign a player than don't sign players. What are you thinking, Bath time? Am I being melodramatic?
No, I'm thinking sort of similar. That like I think it's great that we got the business done early, which is good. It shows like we're sort of planning a little bit. I think the price is a little bit too much for a player like Cunha, and I would want us to be, apart from maybe a striker, paying a bit less for players than 60 million. I hope it like all works out and stuff. But my big sort of, I suppose one of the differences between me and you, Mr. B, is that when you look at like a football team, you look at players individually. So you want your midfielders to all be able to do X, Y, and Z. And I look at them as kind of units. Do you know what I mean? Like, so your midfield has to be able to do this, not the midfielders themselves. And my issue with Cunha is I don't know what kind of striker like he needs in order to be like most effective. And I don't know who you partner with him as the other 10 to be most effective. So at the moment, I would give it like a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, because I need to see what the plan is for that attacking unit before I can say, yeah, this is a brilliant signing. But I mean, there's loads good about him. Like there's more good than bad. So I'm positive, I would say.
Oh, it didn't sound it from me. Look, let me say a couple of howdies. Stephanie, we see her. Cunha looks good in that shirt, our new number 10. Let's hope the old one is offloaded quickly. Well, look, the fact that he no longer has a shirt, we all know what that means. Vincent, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. Andrew, 44 Garnacho is a joke. We'll get on to that. We do. Will he be the best Brazilian that we have? You know, he's going to be better than quite a few of them, but we need him to be an upgrade on what Casemiro was in his first season. We've got 7 of them in the house. But I did see a message. I just couldn't be bothered to show it, mate. Solo, I see. I hope you're doing well in the house. I hope it's not where you're not working too hard. Mr. B, don't worry about what month it is. We all know what month it is. Cunha month. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're getting in there as well. Yeah, Mr. July and Bath time. Thank you very much, Mr. Warner. I hope you're doing well. I hope your bones aren't aching too much. Well, Baggio, a long time since we've seen you in a live. I hope you're doing well, my friend. It's a start. Is that a little bit of positivity from 1994? I'll wait for the next negative comment to come in. And there you go. Look, see, these are the ones I would rather put up. Bart, where's it gone? Where's it gone? It was a proper one. There you go. That's how you start a show. That's how you start it. You know, that's how you start it. Yeah. Alan, I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're doing well. I'm titanium. Is there something that you need to be doing here? Have a look for me, please. Thank you very much. Yes. There we go. Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, look, I know there was a little bit of positivity. Everything I have is positive about it, to be fair. I just look at if he's in the positions that Garnacho's in next season, then a lot of the time the ball will be used wisely. I know the formation doesn't work. I'm convinced. I'm not convinced it doesn't. I hope it does, but I see a lot of frailties in it at the moment. But if they play the same and the players are in the same positions, I just think that if he's going to be getting the ball where Garnacho was getting the ball, then we go a little bit more. I do understand your reservations about the forward that we used or we're going to be using. I think Xerxes could be used well with him. I'm not sure it's going to be a Erasmus type, but maybe that's what they're looking for. What is Gyökeres in regards to what sort of forward was he? Was he more
Gyökeres, he is the sexiest version possible of Miguel Antonio. So he operates out like in sort of wide areas coming in, takes a lot of touches, relies on a bit of pace and power. Like, to be honest, I couldn't really see him working particularly well with Cunha from what I've seen of both of them playing at different clubs. That doesn't always mean that that they won't work out. It's just that they're being used differently in a system. But Cunha is someone who like operates in that sort of in those kind of channels on the left as well. Obviously, a little bit deeper and so on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I get with number 10s, my sort of feeling is that to get the best out of them, you need a runner ahead of them who will like turn centre backs, so that then you're increasing the space between the midfield and the defensive line, and that so you're making the pockets bigger, and that's where people are going to work in. So I'm not sure about a sort of false nine Xerxes Mateta style player if that gets the best out of them. But then again, we don't know if Cunha. We've only seen him at Wolves, so we don't know if he's like great at like running all day and things like that. We don't. It's
yeah, but you brought up that running stat. You said running. There's a lot of other words you could have used, but you brought up running. Are you a believer that he is the person who does the most walking in the Premier League?
We know his work rate is low, but the thing is like with stats, they don't give you a very good like. I mean, you use stats essentially to cut through your bias. That's what the point of statistics are, is to eliminate your personal experience to give you a more comprehensive view of the situation. And with like Cunha and all stats in football, you're playing in different systems, and you can't, and they don't map across properly. So Cunha walking, it depends where he's walking, why he's walking, and when he's walking for that to be a relevant stat. The boy knows that coming to Manchester United, he has to improve. Like he's got to up his levels. He can't just be the same as he was at Wolves. He's got to get better, and he's going to hopefully have better players around him to give him that platform, and he's going to have better coaching, better resources, all of that. So, like in terms of his like running stats and things like that, it doesn't really matter what he's done for Wolves. It matters what he does for us. And if you are playing with Xerxes, you've got to run because he can't.
Yeah. Oh God. So now we need that. Now we need the perfect forward as the perfect foil.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, who did he play with at Wolves? It's Strand Larsen.
Strand Larsen, yeah, and he's left. He would have gone back to. So he used him as a wall then, yeah.
Yeah, basically. And so do we? Like, can we replicate that with a false nine? Because they can play the bounce pass and stuff like that. But it depends what Strand Larsen was doing. Was he tying up two centre backs? And that was giving space for Cunha to operate in between the lines. Like, was Cunha running past him when they went direct and so on? I haven't seen a lot of Wolves, so it's difficult to sort of tell. But I've seen a lot of Palace, and the way Palace use their number 10s is kind of how I envision us using our number 10. So you think of like Olise and Eze. they've been absolutely outrageous in the Premier League for 2 or 3 seasons. And a lot of that has been because Mateta plays like Xerxes, drops
in.
deep, releases them, and so on. So Cunha is an extremely powerful player, and he's very, very good at resisting pressure on either side. So I don't have any issues with him like running beyond the defence and Xerxes or Mateta or whoever we get playing it through, and him being able to finish. I think it can all work, but we haven't seen that from him at Wolves. So it's once again, it's I need to know who the other attacking midfielder or number 10 is he's going to be playing with. Because if it's Ahmad, for example, that means that he's going to have to be attacking the back post for crosses and so on. And if it is Bruno, Mount, Kobe, like if it's Kobe, let's say, he's going to have to do the majority of the running. He's basically going to have to be the box-to-box midfielder, attacking and defending channels. So it's really interesting, like what they're doing, and the fact they've got him in so early suggests to me that there must be a plan for how he's going to be used. And all in all, he's the best player for it at the best price. So you just, unfortunately, Mr. B, you got to kind of trust the process at this moment.
Yeah,
that someone's figured it all out.
Yeah, well, it looks like all of their eggs are in the lap basket. They've gone really quiet since then, so maybe they haven't figured it all out. This one's for you, Vincent. Basically, because of the laws that we are now, even though he's in the same fear of work, he's working under a different company, so they have to get a new work permit. Okay, cool. Thanks, BT. Thanks for that. Let's have a look on here. Where were we? Alan, product hammering in flight. Happy summer transfer windows. Big up Shah. What's happening, bruv? I know you're more positive than Yabba. I hope you're doing well. I hope the missus is doing well. Let's have a look. United have 3 days at the club. Dorgu and Chidu. Yeah. That's 2, by the way.
Rasmus. Oh,
no.
If you just it's gone.
Alan, Kobe's too inconsistent. Do you think he's actually been given a chance? I don't think he has, but it's going to be interesting if he stays. There's a lot of talk about him maybe being moved on as well. I mean, I'm at the point now, Bath, where if the players haven't proved themselves, then as much as I'm going to be upset, I don't care if they go, man. I don't care if they go.
I care about Kobe. Like, he's just like my little shining light because he's a local boy. He plays midfield. He scored a winner in the FA Cup final. Gives us no problems off the pitch. Wonderful touch and range of passing. Like,
Would you play him?
Sorry?
Would you play him?
Well, that's the thing, is that like I'm massively biased towards him. But if you stick with Amarin, which I wouldn't, you sell him because he doesn't have the physicality to play as a number 6, and he also doesn't have the running power to basically play as the 10. Like it's a real shame that this system doesn't suit a hell of a lot of players.
Is that down to academy training? Is that down to, you talk a lot about Ajax players not being able to transfer their football ability because they're trained to a system? Do you think that's a slight on maybe the way that the Premier League are training all of their players?
Well, I mean, you can look at it a couple of ways. Number one is the formation isn't really a sort of common formation in football. It's not like a wild formation, but it's not used very often. And I mean, it must be like almost 20 years since we switched to a 4-3-3. So it seems perfectly acceptable to me to have the academy like train players in 3-man midfields for that length of time. The issue with the new, like the sort of 3-5-2 or the 3-4-2-1 or whatever you want to call it, using 3 centre backs, is that there are wild physical demands on your central midfielders without having to have too much technical ability. And Kobe is a young boy; he's growing into being an athlete, and he might not be an athlete. You know, Paul Scholes wasn't an athlete. Pirlo wasn't an athlete. But it doesn't need his technical quality, and he's not a number 10. He's a player who should receive the ball facing play, in my opinion. It's just such a shame that in order to bankroll this new system, Garnacho and Kobe, who have no place in this system, have to go, and I think that's wrong.
I get that. I get it, but like I said, you've kind of summed up the two. You either back the manager and get rid of. Say, look, it might be both of them. We'll talk about Garnacho in a minute. Or you don't, and I think it's going to be obvious which way the club is going. If Kobe signs, then that's him accepting that maybe he has to fight for his place. I would rather that. I would rather he knuckled down and said, he's determined to fight for his place. I know a lot of it, they talk about money, but I don't understand how an agent, I've never understood how an agent control a footballer. If you're happy at a club and you'll be happy on 115 grand, all right, you always start higher, hoping to come down, but if you're happy with the figure that the club want, then you just tell your agent to accept the deal. Do you know what I mean? So
it's more finances, though, isn't it? Kobe's never played Champions League football. He's in a generation that has an extremely good chance of winning a World Cup or an international trophy.
Well, I'll tell you what, he won't be playing. He won't be getting to Tuchel. Tuchel's not playing anybody young. He's playing ready-built, ready-made internationals in this one. So it wouldn't be this year anyway. So you'd be looking at the Euros, which is 2.5 years. The next, whatever the next tournament is after this one, it's 2.5 years away.
Kobe Minu should be thinking that he, having played in the European Championship final at 18 or 19 or however old he was, should be thinking that he should be doing the same again in the World Cup.
Yeah, I get that, but look who Tuchel is picking. Look at the play. Look who's Tuchel. Has he picked anybody young in this? I have no idea. I'm saying I'm talking blindly here. So he picked Chalobah, defender that he's played with at Chelsea. Go on.
Yeah, like Cole Palmer. He's quite young, isn't he?
Yeah, but Cole Palmer's doing bits. Chelsea again. Was there any surprise? Did he? I said I don't know what the squad was. So I'm sorry. I've asked you this question so blindly.
I don't know
popped
either.
Out of my head.
Neither of us support England. But I can tell you that should be a massive concern to Kobe Minu, is playing Champions League football so he can get better as a footballer. He's too good to not be playing in the Champions League.
There's a lot of players not playing in the Champions League that maybe think they're too good. My thing is, if he thinks he's good enough, if you don't look, it may well be a thing where he leaves, But I would like to think he would stay and fight, especially after it's only been 2 years. Come on, man, that's 2 years. It's no time in football, and he hasn't played the whole. He's been injured for at least a year of that, but he's been injured for 3/4 of the time that he's been available to play.
No, but do you know the real issue is that I'm finding myself agreeing with Andrew Williams these days, which is normally the sign of lunacy. But
all right, and is this the message that you agree with?
Yes, if I were in charge, I would sack Amrin today.
Wow. And who would you get rid of players wise? Would it be the same list of players?
Yes, I would be looking to move out basically everyone who played the cup final except for Yoro, Dorgu, I guess, and Mazraoui. And that unfortunately includes players I like Delo and Maguire and Bruno. But you can't come back from that, in my opinion. So I would shift all of them, and I'm sacking Amrin for 2 reasons. The first reason is his performance as a manager this year, which has been horrific. And secondly, I'm sacking him for the system. I don't want a three at the back system. It's anemic to Manchester United. We're losing too many. Like, to lose Kobe and Garnacho over a system thing is a little bit ridiculous in my view. And I don't think that a three back formation. I had a look earlier, Mr. B. In the Premier League, 7 teams have used it in the last 5 years, and the highest any team that's used it has finished is 8th, and that was Conte's Tottenham. And I see no future for it. I think that if we sell Bruno and we give 100 million to Amarin, we're going to be in a very, very similar situation to Ten Hag, where we have a lot of players that have cost a lot of money that we can't move on. And anyone we get in, like, are we now like playing 3-5-2 for like Ineos's time? They made a stupid decision to sign Amarin, an emotional one where they panicked because Ashworth, my mate, didn't have anyone. Well, that's what happened and stuff. And there are much, much better managers that we can go and get from the Premier League. Like, look at the guy at Bournemouth. It's absolutely outrageous, like, what he's done there. Why can't we go and get Andrea Iraola?
Yeah, but would Iraola have? When we were linked with Amarin, rival fans were upset. Do you know what I mean? And that's more. I just thought, it's great, but I just wanted to be. Do you see this going the same way? Do you see him being as bad as Ten Hag? Look, Ten Hag bent, and he still got the sack. Ten Hag bent. He changed it and still got the sack.
Look, Ten Hag, right? First of all, I didn't like him as manager, but you have to respect that he won 2 trophies for us. And up until this season, he was basically the worst. He provided the worst season in Premier League history for us. However, Ten Hag, his issue was he became win now. Like, his job was constantly under pressure, basically, after losing those first 2 games. But what he did, that I always gave him credit for, is when we came back after an international break, he made changes to the system and the personnel. Like, you saw things like Bruno going false 9, maybe might not be him, but definitely putting Eriksen in as a pivot next to McTominay, for example. Like, moving McTominay to sort of number 10 and things like this. Every time he had time to sit down and think about what was going wrong, he came back with what he thought was a solution. Amarin hasn't done any of those things. He's produced some of the worst football and worst results. And yeah, there are mitigating circumstances around it. But I like him as a man, but I don't like his system. I think it's going to cost us so much down the line.
Do you think because he knew he wasn't going to get sacked, that he's gone and he maybe didn't bend? He got the backing that no matter where you finish, all right, I don't think 17th or 15th where we finished was what the club were expecting in the beginning, but do you think that he got the backing to say, look, no matter how bad we are, you're still going to be the manager next year and we're going to back you? Why he probably didn't bend, and he was so adamant that his system, he wasn't going to change. If it hurts, it's tough, blah. Do you think that could have been a reason why he didn't change, whereas Ten Hag was obviously fighting for the job because he knew that he wasn't guaranteed it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, look, you sign Amarin for his system. He's only ever, like, he's done something like played 2 games using a 3-man midfield or something. That's his system. You get him in for that, and the club backed him, in my opinion, like, almost like they really backed him with Garnacho and Rashford, like in the first 10 days or whatever it was, sending them to the reserves, kicking Marcus Rashford, the poster boy, out of the football club for the rest of the season. All those things. He got a lot of backing in his decisions. I think that they respect him. But at the end of the day, I think that they made a mistake bringing him in, and that it's up to them to correct that mistake. I feel dreadful for Amrin, because what you've done is you've brought a guy in to a club that has no money, that is trying to build a new stadium, has recruited for a 3-man midfield, and saying make it work with and you only play one way. It's never gonna be successful.
Oh God, I see. The
What
thing
do the
is,
comments think?
there's a lot of people thinking like you. Hold on, let's get
No, they
hold
don't.
on. Let me get Andrew up. Hold on. Just I am titanium, right? So after seeing us in the Europa Cup final, I don't think he's going to be successful as a manager. This one was Tyrone was talking about Ten Hag's talent ID, and then he's followed it up with oh, get out of the way with him. Yeah, we bought a manager who can only play of the one system again. Does anybody realize how insane it is? Yeah, bath time does. Tyrone. Let's have a look. There we go. It should be in the but Patrick was saying, oh no, that is yeah, there we go. Hi gents, agree that Mainu should be in the Champions League. Why wasn't he actually playing like a Champions League player? Amri doesn't help the Mainu with his general form has been poor this season. Another one having a dig at Amrin. Hold on, let's have a look. Sure, they're just saying howdies, and howdies. So apart from, so there's 4 of them, to be fair, of the main guys, and the rest of them was kind of kept quiet on it. A couple of us are trusting the process. Yes, we can. Can we get a poll up? So what do you want the poll to be?
Sack Amrin, yes or no?
All right, hold on. Get a poll. Get a poll. 1 second. Get a poll. Sack Amrin, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, no.
How close are you to thinking that Amrin, like, percentage-wise, how much do you support my idea to sack Amrin today?
None. I don't. I have no. That's not even on my. It's not even on my my radar, my agenda, my conversation pieces. I have no interest in sacking a manager that hasn't been done. Oh, we got a new member. Welcome, Rebel. Welcome to the madness. I know you've been here before, but yeah, welcome to it. Can you get that poll up for me while you're here, please? Thank you very much. When
are you going to put Amrin up on your wall,
man? Look, see, the problem I have is, right, I had Ten Hag up there, right? Maybe it was blind faith with Ten Hag. I've got Mainu up here now, and all we're doing is all the last 6 months we've been talking about is him leaving. Maybe, you know, it's a jinx, and maybe I just won't put him up. That way, then he won't go. You know, I bought my son the Rashford top. He's gone. So maybe I need to stop. Maybe I need to stop naming these players, and just keeping it to myself. I'm not getting that. I think I'm trusting him blindly. Bath time. I think it probably is an ignorance.
How about if we reframed it, right? And it's not, because for me, I'm sacking Amrin for 2 reasons. One is his performance and his conduct in the Premier League this season. But 90% of it is about his system. Like, so really, I suppose the question is how confident are you from 1 to 10 that the 3-4-3 is going to get us above 8 next season?
I think it depends on the recruitment. I think it depends on who we buy. I'll be honest, Buff, because I see errors in a lot of what players do. Mm-hmm. And I look at certain positions in the game, you know, if Abate didn't give the ball away here, if he passed forward there instead of passing backwards, maybe this is how they've been trained to play. This is maybe how he wants them to play. But I keep thinking about what Cole Palmer said in the Conference Peer Cup, where the halftime, he said he was sick of passing sideways and thought to himself, I'm going to go forward. So maybe the profile of player that he has in the Ugarte going sideways, because let's be honest, he's going to be under a lot of pressure now. Casemiro not being able to run to get himself around the pitch. Bruno playing at 8 and giving the ball away. Maybe if he gets players who pass forward but don't give the ball away, are safe players, but the ones who keep hold of the possession, the ones who can switch, players who he knows what they can do in the system that he wants to play. I get it. You're backing a player to a manager to the system. I understand that, but he needs to be backed. He needs to be given the opportunity to show that this is, as I said, this is just me personally, that he needs to be able to show that his system could work. I do have doubts over it. I'm not going to sit here like an idiot. I don't play a two-man midfield in amateur football because I think we're going to get dicked most weeks. But I'm not, I don't have my UEFA badges. I haven't trained under Jose. I haven't done all of this stuff that these managers do. There must be an adaptation that he can work on to get that formation to work. It worked against Man City. Yes, they sat in deep and they hit him on the break 4 times, but they didn't dominate the football. So if he can adapt to it, fine. I'm not going to say I don't think he can, but this summer is going to be huge for him in regards to what he does in negating the gaps and all of the mess that the formation, the formation causes. Because defensively, I look at it and I think, we're all right in defense. We've got good defenders, but then you lose 4-1. You can't then sit back and say the defenders did okay. But we know that the two-man midfield is an issue. Is it the profile of the two-man midfield? Because let's be honest, Bruno at the moment is he's a multifunctional player. He's not an 8, and he's not the 10 that the profile of 10. I think that Amorim would really be to be looking for. So I think he needs to be back, regardless of who goes, who comes in. I think he definitely needs to be back for this summer window. Whether it's going to be what he wants or what we as supporters want in regards, to first team, the Jokereses and the Osimhens and the blah blah blahs. But as long as he's back to where he's got the players who can play in, and we're not shoehorning in Mason Mount as a central defensive midfielder because Ugarte is injured, and that's all I can hope for the summer, because I don't really trust Ineos to get too much right.
I mean, for me, like it's interesting what you said there, because like I think that on with football players, you can have too much order and you can have too much chaos. Like rather like life, you need a balance between the two, and you definitely need it on a football pitch. You do need chaotic players like Garnachos and Rashfords that just do stuff that unsettles other teams, and you need your players like a Rodri or someone who is just completely ordered in what he does and just pings the ball simply. My issue with Amorim's system is that there's actually a bit too much order in it. There's not enough risk taking. So we have like very stodgy possession at the back. It gets into wide areas and teams can set their pressing traps on us. And I think a large part of that is probably because of what we have in the midfield. You can't trust a ball inside to Ugarte.
Def 100%, yeah.
Enough. Yeah, and things like that. So it might be that there's a way of sort of solving it, but just where I stand at the moment, it's because our next story is basically Bruno in it. If we get 100 million for Bruno, I don't want it invested into a 3 centre-back formation. I want transitional-based, direct vertical football.
Have you voted, BT?
No, I don't get a vote. I'm the queen.
Evening, Rio. How are you doing, man? How are you doing, man? No, as I said, see, no, see, and this is just it. It's not a second Amrim debate. It's not a debate at all because we know he's going to stay. We're just sort of talking about what he can change. Has he been too stubborn? Has he been too rigid? Should the club back him? So all of those, get your points down in the comments, man, and we'll get them out. We'll get them out. I want him back. I do want him back to half time.
No, I get it. Like,
want
I
him
know
back.
people are whinging that we're having this conversation, but like, we don't really sort of do shouting like on the channel and stuff, unless Mr. B gets really angry with something I say. But it's when you talk to people and you listen to what they're saying, you can get their viewpoint. And Mr. B is a manager. I'm not a manager. I'm a player. So hearing things like you have to back the manager, you've got to give him his players, and things like that. It's a different perspective that means that we can get to, you know, a more full understanding of what is going on.
Yeah, but see, and again, I look at the formation faults into what he has, and say we talk about Agata. He can only play one way. If you've got a player like Gravenberch who can take the ball on the turn either way consistently, it opens up the game. It's too easy to man mark like two players, if you see what I mean. If you go with a free press and the two sitting in, you're relying a lot on your wing backs. Now, Dorgu probably isn't the best at passing. Ahmad is, but Ahmad doesn't go outside, he goes inside. So as much as I see the formation, I do see the faults in the formation, and I'm trying to understand.
If that's more the players, isn't it? That's not a
Well, yeah,
system
and right.
error.
See, right,
That's
and
the
see,
player
this is
error.
right, and this is what I was talking about. Him needing to be backed in the profile of player that he wants to bring into the club. You know what I mean? Because Agate's more like a brick wall, isn't he? And that's what I'm saying. If he's got maybe a player who is more suited to what he wants to do, I get it. That we're going to back another manager who, after 15 games, we could find is on his ass. I mean, do you think the club could be smart in the recruiting in regards to that? Cunha can play. Can Cunha play the 4-2-3-1?
I don't know. I don't know what Diego Simeone played Atletico with him, but like he's like as a box-to-box midfielder in the Premier League. I think, yeah, absolutely. Like,
Could he play as another? Could he play as another striker?
Yeah,
as
like
a second striker in a two. That's well, you say at 8.5. I was more thinking about the players. I mean, look, he could play. Could he play off the left in a 4-2-3-1? Yeah. I'm just thinking is right. That's so maybe the players that we buy won't necessarily be, I know, suited to Amarin in regards to that they're multifunctional players. You know,
this is the problem, though, Mr. B.
Right, and this is the part
backs,
because
central players, fine. Wing backs,
it's the wide side, yeah,
and it's also selling wingers. Like, it's crazy to me that if Amrin gets his way, we won't have a single winger at the club, with maybe the exception of Ahmed and you can argue Shea Lacey. But one of the issues that I have about his management is I think you're completely correct to identify Ugarte as a complete donkey. But from what I've seen, when we're in possession, you, like, certainly in the build-up, you always have a spare man, right? Because the goalkeeper can't come up and join in play. And I've noticed consistently that our free man, they just let it be Ugarte all the time. And I think that Amrin should have recognised that and put, maybe, I mean, it sounds crazy, but maybe just swap him with Xerxes for the build-up. Like some sort of solution. Like, so
and that's where pre-season, you know, maybe, but he didn't have it. He wasn't able to have it.
Yeah, another great point.
You know, so there's so much. I mean, Xerxes came in no pre-season under what's his face, Ten Hag, and he came in fat. Yeah, he did come in chubby. So I just think there's all right. Pre-season's can't and will not solve everything. And for the players, no, I agree. But for the players not to have adapted during the season, I think is maybe a slight on the players, player IQ. But I think if he gets that preseason in, and uninterrupted, yeah, we've got one player in. We probably need another. I have no idea when preseason starts, but if we could get two in, and then even if Sancho has to come back, he knows he's going. Rashford has to come back, he knows he's going. It's not going to be like last year where they might be going. You're coming back to because you're being sold, and that's the legal requirement. If they could have kept him out away on holiday, probably or told him to stay at home, then they would probably do that. So I think hopefully there's an understanding, and the players are mature enough. It's not going to be the club. The players are mature enough to know that you're going to have to come back to Manchester. You get your agent to sort things out, and as soon as they sort things out, you can go. Until then, you're going to have to stay. If it means that you have to come out and tour, don't get any game time because you're not part of the system, then understand that and get onto your agent. Get on your agent. They know what's going on from now. We've known what's going on since December. So if it's only now that their agents are trying to sort things out, then it's a slight on the agents that they have.
And they should all be writing thank you letters to Anthony and Scott McTominay, because Rashford might get a move to Barcelona based off what those two players have done.
Performances.
We're massively in the debt of those two because they're going to help us get rid of Sancho and Rashford.
What's this, Tyrone? I mean, can I ask something? Maybe I've missed what the hashtag was or whatever, but obviously, Tyrone's got. Did anybody see Garnacho push United fans seeking an autograph the other day? Get rid. What I have noticed is they're giving everybody the bird. Is that? Did I see a Photoshop picture?
Yeah, Ahmad did it.
I know Ahmad did it because somebody, obviously, he said the gentleman cussed his mum. Fine, I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, but I actually saw a group picture with a whole load of Man United players giving the middle finger. Was that Agate gave one? Was this?
They're doing like, I think in France '98, the England team had some private joke about trying to get song lyrics into every interview they're doing. They're just fucking about on tour. I wouldn't it might be poor discipline and stuff, but it's just they don't want to be there. Like, they shouldn't be there, to be honest. It's ridiculous, and I just see it to be honest as just them trying to find some way to have a little bit of fun. I don't think it's particularly tasteful for Manchester United players to do this to the fans.
That's what I was wondering, because it's not even like it's something that can be construed as doing something else. It's blatantly obvious what they do, and I just
It's poor. It's just poor club culture, and it probably leads us on to the role of the captain.
Well, there you go. Perfectly onto the role of the captain. I know you're accepting the money for him half time. I've come round to the fact that I mean, you say reluctantly, which is really weird because you said that you think that we relied too much on him as a player. What is it, the realization that the club might actually sell him, or you think that maybe?
No, it's because he's been since Fergie left, Bruno has been one of the only players that I think has played the Manchester United way with courage and passion for the badge the majority of the time. He cares. He's given us great moments. He's lifted one trophy, but he's kind of lifted two. Maguire was captain for the Carabao Cup, but Bruno was the de facto captain. I think that he has given everything he possibly could to the club, and we're having to sell him for sort of financial reasons and so on. And it's like, I'm reluctant to see him go, but that's a hell of a lot of money. We need money, and he doesn't fit this system. And there's still, despite everything he's done and how long he's been here, there's still question marks about his ability to consistently affect games on the pitch with losing the ball. His running sometimes is really weird. Like, Steph's put, he plays for himself to the detriment of the team. I wouldn't agree with that, but I understand that opinion because of what he does, and so it's reluctantly I'm going to let him go because I think he's been our best player since Fergie left.
Which is weird. The best player since Fergie left, but there's a lot of people who would be happy to let him go. If it was a 50 million, then this is a no conversation, right? It's because of the money. Yeah. The polls finished. The poll update: 56 against sacking, 44 in favour of sacking.
It's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I didn't know the general trend. I thought I was being a bit outrageous when I came to my decision today. But I'm sacking him because of the system mainly,
and the fact that he's not bending. He hasn't bent to try to adapt.
No, it's not that, because that's what you got him in to do. It's like getting a painter in and expecting them to do your plumbing. Like, that's, he came in to play that system, and I don't believe in the system, and I think there's a lot of extenuating circumstances around the worst season in Premier League history, and I think that the players are as much to blame as he is for it. But then again, he keeps picking. Well, he doesn't actually pick Agate anymore, but he keeps picking Rasmus. He keeps picking Dorgu. He keeps putting Ahmad in silly positions.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Dorgu was his signing. Rasmus, to a certain extent, was. Yeah, I would have played it. To be fair, I would. Yeah, you're right. I would have played anybody else other than him. I get he's a striker.
Crazy about Rasmus. I reckon Sesko and Gyökeres are going to move this summer for less money than we paid for Rasmus.
Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? It's disgusting.
Isn't that mad?
That's typical. I mean, see, and these are the mistakes. I mean, to be fair, nobody's talking about Cunha being overpriced at 62.5 mil. I haven't heard anybody. Sorry?
I am.
You think 60? Do you think that's not a good price?
I think Cunha is a £45 million player, £50 million player. I understand that to get him, that's kind of what you have to pay. But I would like to put a cap on our transfers, to be honest. And say we wouldn't
sign anybody then.
No more than £45 million for any player that isn't a striker.
We wouldn't. So I don't think we would sign it. But we're going to need to spend more than that on a central midfielder.
Well, have other who's a good central midfielder apart from McAllister, who's been bought for over 50 million?
How much was McAllister? 35.
Oh, was it? Okay, let's say McAllister then.
100 mil.
Yeah. Okay, so take him out. What? Like, how much did Joe Linton cost? Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't buy Joe. Yeah, they didn't buy Joe Linton as a central midfielder. They bought him as a striker, didn't they? Yeah.
Right.
Gravenberch. Yeah, what was Bruno? 50 mil? Bruno must have been 50 mil, no?
I thought he's less than that.
Oh, he's a proper player.
Yeah.
He's a proper player.
This is what I want Mr. B is. I hate to say this, but we should be looking at Newcastle United as a kind of blueprint of the football we want to play and where we want to be going forwards. And they've done it in 4 or 5 years or something like that. They don't have like our name and things, but I think that we've been this route before about spending a lot of money on single players and so on. And I think that we should be looking at like 45 million as a maximum and churning out these players.
I get it, but the club would just put it out. Somebody would just outbid and bid 46 for the player that we want. So
that's what Manchester City do that. We outbid them for Maguire.
Yeah, but you know what? They did that, and now they've gone on and they're going to do a match. They're going to spend a fortune this summer. I don't know how I'm not sure how they can. I mean, that's a whole nother. Well,
the Club World Cup, man. Ridiculous.
Yeah, but come on, man. They've scamped the Prem for 10 years, and nobody's still not talking.
Is that the Club World Cup, they're going to get about 100 million players.
Yeah, so they're just spending what they have. Yeah. What's coming in? I get it.
And it's such a shit time to be a United fan because with Club World Cup and the the Champions League. They have created the Super League that we wanted to make 5 years ago, and we are missing out on so much money, and it's going to be so much harder to close the gap until we sort out the debt. To be honest,
it's never going to get sorted out if they're paying minimum, isn't it? £5 a month. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think that we should be like being prudent and only spending 45 million, let's say. Like that, it could be 50 million, but sending a set amount on any player that isn't a striker, because strikers always going to cost more. But that would be
50 mil's not terrible, but the players who the attacking midfield or the number 10, it's probably going to cost more than 50 million. He has cost more than 50 million. He cost 62 and a half. Maybe the next one probably not going to cost so much, hopefully. But if it's Prem proven, then that's the tax that they're going to put on it. It was Man United tax before, now it's Prem proven tax that we're going to get hit with. So it doesn't stop.
How much was Elise?
Was it 50 mil? Was it Elise 50 mil?
50 mil. All right, then that would be how much I would say for number 10.
Yeah. Eze,
like, he's a bit old now, but like Eze, I think 45, 50 million would be fine.
Well, that's the mark, I suppose. Anybody I'll tell you going to tell me you're 40, 45.
What's Kluivert's boy called? Justin Kluivert?
Justin, yeah. You can't spend 50 million on him.
Exactly, but he is, he probably, I haven't looked, but he will have more goals and goal contributions than Ahmad does. Like,
you think so? Well, this season probably, yeah. But then he plays in a different. Yeah, but then he plays in a different position. He plays more central, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But that's an example of a number 10 that like affects games. And
right, I understand.
50 million on him.
I understand. I get it. I get it. Get a system player though. It's a player who needs it. They just have a system player by half time.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm saying sack the manager because I don't like the system. So I don't understand how that plays into your argument, to be honest.
Because it is find a player who's confident in the system that he's playing in.
Yeah. All right. What, Bruno? Are you taking 100 million?
Yes. Yeah. Without a shadow, I love Bruno, but I'm taking 100 million. I'm not going to say I trust the club to invest it, but they would have to reinvest it if they got the money. They would need two players. If you get the 10 and the 8 with that, I'm quite happy. Or you get the striker and the 8 with that.
I'm thinking the goalkeeper and the striker.
Well, to be fair, a goalie shouldn't cost more than 30 mil. Really,
well, that Liverpool second choice goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's never going to come to us. He's never going to come to us.
But have you seen Ten Hag's first signing as a SEC client? Again, absolutely.
Go on, what's he done?
He signed, that agency that his son owns.
Yeah.
His first signing is someone from that agency, Flecken, the Brentford.
Oh, Bournemouth, Brentford. Okay, so that means Ananda's staying with us then. Okay.
Probably.
Oh,
but so
Lord,
with someone like Keller, I think that he's got a wonderful reputation.
This is one. Chat Sports, sorry. The Bruno money's already been spent on Cunha.
I don't think so.
I don't think. Yeah, I think they had. I think because that deal was muted so long ago, I think that's money they had. I think Bruno money now goes on future signings, future ones.
Yeah, I'm not 100. I'm not 100 on this, but I believe that on the 1st of July, Ratcliffe can put another 300 million into the club.
You think he's going to spunk his money again?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's contractually obliged to be honest.
So is this transfers or is this Glazer money?
No, this is just for the club. Like you can spend 300 billion. So this.
Yeah, but where does it go? I mean, right. So where would that be going? Sorry, I should have let you finish before I jumped in. Sorry.
I think it will be going on transfers and maybe transfers and maybe the debt. It doesn't have to be like previously. It had to be for like the training ground and stuff like that. But this can be for like transfers and so on. So I think that the Cunha deal has been penciled in to be financed by that, and I think that the Gyökeres deal, or who were we linked with? We were gonna was the meaning that we were gonna get was the feeling we were gonna get Gyökeres if we qualified for the Champions League.
Yeah, I think that was the
Yeah,
deal.
I think that a lot of that was down to the money that Radcliffe is like obliged to put in, and so I think that the Cunha money comes from that. The Bruno stuff, I think, is an unexpected bonus.
If they take it,
They'll
I mean,
take it.
you showed a little something to me in the group earlier on, last time, about what was being said about Bruno. Where is it? Here we go. United District. El Hal believes an agreement with Bruno Fernandes is close. He is currently deliberating with his family as a key factor in whether the move is all right is for his family. So, yeah, it sounds like, you know, I have no problem if he stays. I have no problem if he goes. If he stays, actually, that's a lie.
I want him to go.
Yeah, I would rather he goes so that we can get the rebuild done and get the players in. Well, I think what will piss me off is if he goes and we don't get what we know that we need: the goalie, the 8 and the 10, and the goalie, the 8 and the striker. You know,
I'm not actually that bothered about the 8. What we have to do is we have to get a striker.
So what would you play? Well, I mean, the striker, I would say is number 1. Let's be honest, striker is number 1, but I think
number 1, goalkeeper number 2.
They must be able to get a goalkeeper and a midfielder with that money last time.
Yeah.
3 players with 100 million. So, yeah. All right, I'll take the 3. I'll go with the 3.
That's 2 £30 million players and a £40 million player.
Yeah, but there's no striker that's going to cost 40 mil.
Oh, Mateta might cost 40 mil.
Might.
But the thing is that, like, so a goalkeeper, I don't think you should be spending over 25 million on a goalkeeper, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely not for that. Okay, so 25.
A striker, I think that you can stretch the budget, to be honest, on a striker. Like, I always feel guilty about this because I know Matty Bassett loves him so much. I'm not particularly enamoured by Gyökeres. I think from what I've seen, he suits a team like Nottingham Forest that play a bit deeper and basically transition focused.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't play because of how Porto dominated the football. I'm not sure that's how he plays. Just because of how not Porto, Sporting played, they wouldn't have been a defensive. They would have been more offensive. So that's why I was thinking that maybe he might not play that way. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I've seen every goal that he scored, and there are far more penalties than I was expecting, to be honest. But most of them appear to be like from transition situations. But remember, you can make those yourself. Like, you know, you can suck a team in and then get out of the press, or you can win the ball high up the pitch. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he can only play one way, etc. I just think that with the amount of touches that he takes on the ball, he's never going to be a top quality penalty box striker. And I think that's why you're seeing Arsenal looking at Sesko more than Gyökeres, because Sesko is and Delap are, in my opinion, better penalty box strikers.
First touch, you talk about first touch finishes, isn't it?
I am, yeah. Like, and also it's just from a biased point of view. Like, when I look at these players, I think, what would it be like to play with them? And when I look at Osmans and Seskos and Delaps, I see that they get on the blind side of their defender and then move across at the correct time, and it just makes it so much easier for a midfielder. Whereas Gyökeres is a bit more like a Rashford or a Watkins, and sort of like either runs in behind or stands his man up and tries to then sort of make a yard and sort of get away. So I'm not as taken by those players as much as my one-touch finishers like Cavani's. But beggars can't be choosers, and we need strikers. If we get Gyökeres, I will be very, very happy. But
I mean, look, the fact that he hasn't, it's weird. he hasn't been linked. He's not been linked to anybody at the moment, which is I find strange. Obviously, Chelsea have done their deal. Liverpool, no. Arsenal are obviously chasing Chesko, stuff that we've spoken about. Liverpool aren't showing any interest, and obviously he's not going to go to Newcastle because Isak's still there. So I'm sure you said he could fall into. It would be a lovely present to fall into the hands. To be fair, but it just seems weird that nobody's been linked with him. They know what the price is. Everybody knows what the price is.
It's almost like my assessment of him might be right. That I don't think that he's like, for those teams, what they're looking for, I think, is that they're looking for semi-final Champions League semi-final killers, right? Arsenal and things like that. And Gyökeres, I don't think is that. Like,
yeah, but he scored so much
Sesko
goals.
is.
And Sesko scored half the amount of goals as he has. Obviously, maybe in a higher league in regards to Bundesliga over the Portuguese league, but
yeah, but it's the type of goals that you're looking for. Like, I mean, Arsenal need a transition threat. Liverpool don't. Newcastle certainly don't. Manchester City don't play transitions. And I think that when you look at the top clubs in England, let's say it's Arsenal, let's say it's Arsenal and City, they both basically look for big lumpy strikers with a bit of pace, because they have to break down low blocks and so on. And Gyökeres isn't for low blocks, in my opinion. He's not going to help you there. Whereas Sesko and to a degree Delap are, because of their ability to do more one-touch finishing goals. So if United move to a very heavy transition-based style, which is almost impossible in a 3-5-2 variation, then yeah, that would be absolutely great. But we're going to have that old problem of not being able to break down low blocks with Gyökeres, and I believe that is why the top clubs, a bit like Jonathan David and Lautaro Martinez, are kind of very hesitant because they haven't demonstrated that they've got the gifts to do it.
Oh, well, let's. I will take Gyökeres anyway. So if that's the assessment that they've got, I'd rather he came to the club and you were proved right in regard to your assessment, and they were all proved right. Let's get him in so that we can
improve us dramatically, because
just not top four dramatically is what you're feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I think like it's the difference between a 25 goal a season striker and a 20 goal a season striker. Until you're at the cutting edge, it's not as important. Like, so if we get Gyökeres in, it gives us a massive chance of like getting into Europa League or something like that, because we're going to be adding, I'd assume, around 20 Premier League goals if he stays fit and carries it on. So I think that is fantastic. But if you give me the choice of him or Sesko, I'll go for Sesko.
Well, we'll see. Sesko, we won't. Sesko will be in the Premier League one way or the other next season anyway. So it'll be somebody to watch. Finally, our final little one is Garnacho. They've set a price tag of 40 million.
Ridiculous.
Okay, well, we've got that from you guys in the chat, and if the poll man is still here, is the Garnacho price too cheap at 40 million? I'll put it to you, Bath Time.
Yes, it
is the 40 million because of potential, because of what he's done for us this and last season? What would be the deal that you would be happy with? And this is a question that I'm putting to you guys in the chat as well. Could we, would you be happy with a deal where he's gone and we get a percentage of his sell on, or do you just want a big fee?
Maybe. I mean, I think that Garnacho's market value is plus 50. I'd say I could see everyone in chat. I'd say 60 million sounds about right to me. He scored in a cup final. He's won an international tournament. He's in the golden boy list. There are very few players that compare to him in his age group for sort of goals and assists in the top level of football. The reason that his price is so low is because of your beloved manager, like and all the leaks and things like that. He's
Well, apparently they reckon it wasn't him. They reckon it wasn't him that leaked that information. Whether or not that's true or false is another issue. But they reckon it
yeah, but
wasn't
everyone
him.
knows he's for sale, and he has been since January. So like, it's a it's a buyer's market where you could like lowball and things like that. And also, United players with a lot of potential are probably seen as very attractive after what Anthony and McTominay have done in their respective leagues. You know, blaming the problems on management and stuff like that. I think that it's really bad.
Do you think it could be to get what an auction going in regards to, you know, if they had put him at 60 mil, there would only been maybe a certain few clubs who would have been interested. Putting him at 40, maybe it maybe gets a deal done a lot quicker, so they'll get the money in quicker. But maybe it might be pushed up to 50. You know, if Chelsea come in for him, and then you find that Atletico Madrid want him and they're willing to put, you know, an extra 5 million on the table. Do you think it could be a strategy, that kind of strategy? No, definitely not. No,
I think the way the transfer market works now is that agents are informed of roughly what the deal would be to sell that player. The agents then go to the clubs that, you know, their client has agreed that it'd be fine moving to, and they work out a basic contract. And then then the club speaks to the agent goes back to the club, so on and so forth. It's not like you have the clubs all texting each other and then they go and negotiate with the player anymore.
Here's one for you. Eddie Howe will go for Garnacho. You know, Liverpool have always had a strong interest in Gordon. Do you think that could be like chat sport? Was that the angle that you were looking at, chat sport?
There's a better angle there.
Go on.
Which it gives us a free run at Mbuena. If we agree to sell Garnacho to Newcastle and they give us a run on Mbuena, and maybe that is something that I could sit with if there's a bit of a sell-on clause and 10 million in profit. That would be okay with me. And I also think that's not. I don't think that's uncommon in football to make those kind of arrangements. So if there's interest from Newcastle, that's extremely good for us, because I believe that Brian Mbeumo would be an absolutely fantastic signing for us. And, you know, I've sung his praises for 2 or 3 years.
It's 20 goals this season as well, Mbeumo.
It's also like the fact he's a long distance runner and stuff. And Garnacho, like, I think with the spaces that Amarin wants, he's not suited to that length of long distance running. He's
a burst player. Yeah, he's a burst player. He's a sprinter.
The thing is, right, he's relentless in his running. He plays with courage. He's not a very good finisher. He's not balanced enough. But if he can sort that out, he is he's ready to explode into the sort of top levels of European football. The same way we said it about Rashford, and it never really happened. But there's huge potential there because everyone knows his weaknesses. But if those are sorted out, he's going to be a brilliant player. And also, he carries our attack, like the thrust of it, so much. Like, you look at the difference in directness between him and like Amad Diallo or Mason Mount or even Bruno at times. Like, Garnacho really does have a very high ceiling. And I know he's a very, very annoying player. But if he goes to Newcastle, surely they can't get Mbuena. And that means we can get him. And I do quite like that as a sort of deal, but I just don't think we should be selling Garnacho.
This is going to be a long 2.5 months for us, bath time. You know that, don't you? Listen, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, this is going to be one of the more painful summer breaks. The fact that there's no summer tournament on, I didn't watch him anyway, so it's not
There's
really
the
a problem.
Ladies Euros and there's the Club World Cup.
Well, the Club World Cup, I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to watch. Just out of, I tend to not watch. I mean, I watched the Champions League final again. I didn't see it live. I watched it. Although I knew the result, I still ended up watching it. But I don't tend to watch teams that aren't United play.
Yeah.
So I doubt. I mean, I might pass through a game in the Club World Cup, but I'm not going to sit down and set myself up to watch a live game or whatever. If I've got a highlight show that show the goals, maybe. If not,
I'm
YouTube
not
will
even
do
sure
the
it's
rest
on
of it.
UK TV, to be
Oh
honest.
well, that's
They've got the
see that
rights.
shows what the uptake was, and it's probably on the Zone or one of those versions of
It is on
something.
the
So
zone. They paid $1 billion to do it.
sorry.
They paid $1 billion.
Oh, they probably got the money. They probably got the money from somewhere else. You know, like they paid $1 billion here, but got $1 billion doing something else for somebody. You know, just in one hand and out of the other one without even touching the sides. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's ways these things work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, like if you ever look at what Man City have been indicted for, that is basically what they got done. That's one of the charges leveled against them, is that the Emirates put a huge amount of money in someone's bank account, and then they just went and put it in City's bank account. Like it's just absolutely crazy.
Oh
But
God.
would you take a Ghana Mbeumo swap, as it were?
Yeah, I have no. I like him as a player. I just worry that if we get another 10, it means that Bruno plays as an 8, and I don't want that. I'd rather
You know,
Bruno.
Bruno's gone.
Well, let's hope so. But until he's gone, I worry. Until he's gone, I worry. You know, if he stays, it makes it sound like I want him to go. I don't mind. I don't mind if he stays. I know, but I know the deal with Bahrain already. That's why a lot of the players fly from Bahrain into Saudi because they can live like they do in the West.
And see the issues just melt away.
I mean, look, I mean, bath time. I'll be honest, right? This isn't money that I would ever. It wouldn't, wouldn't come into my sphere of earning. But if I could earn that amount of money, I'm making my wife understanding it. You could come up by private jet every weekend. Private jet, you don't have to queue up with anybody. You get the chauffeur to the blob. So there's ways that these things can work. And he said if they're not living in that regime, the strict, right? I'm talking about the alcohol and the drink, the stuff that Westerners want to do. I'm not saying that that's what all they do or blah, blah. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm getting to. But if the lifestyle doesn't have to change, then, and he convinced her, I would be convincing my missus and my kids that. Guess what? The kids don't even have to. I'll go work. People work away from home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that he's a professional, he doesn't strike me as somebody who don't wants to do a Rashford or a Grealish and fall out the pubs drunk every lunchtime. So he'll be going out there just to play football. So I'll be taking the money, man. 3 years, darling. I still love you. Yeah, I still love. Exactly. It's too much money to turn down. It's not going to cause any issues. Financially, she'd be set for life. Whatever she was doing, she would have been doing there anyway. So I would be going. If he goes, I have no problem with him going. As I said, if he does stay, fine. If he goes, just spend the money wisely, man, and get it spent quickly.
He'll be fine, Mr. B. Ronaldo is out there. He'll make sure that Ronaldo is in that Fernandez is in the World Cup squad for America. They'll make it sound like it's a really good idea to give him a break for a couple of months, the way Messi kind of did at PSG before he went and won the league. I think it is almost 100% going to happen, because you find me a man that will turn down 100 million to go and play football somewhere. Or maybe it's just us. Maybe because we're not from that that world, we can't imagine. Like maybe Bruno, was it Matthias Flamini who became a billionaire after football
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
petrochemicals company?
yeah. And Oliver, what's his name? Solomon Kalou selling luxury chocolate now, innit? I had that on Talk Sport earlier on as well. He's gone into the
Maybe
luxury
Bruno is
chocolate business.
demanding. Maybe Bruno is holding out to be made head of OPEC or something. That he wants like oil producing rights.
They might give it to him. You might be surprised what the deal is. Do you know what, Dora? I'm so upset. I'm not going to be here to hear your rant, because I can feel it brewing. She's had too little. Could just take the money and thank him. You know already.
Yeah,
She's got that voice on her already. I know she's spitting.
Dora, can you come on Thursday, please? Thank you very much. Please, thank you.
Oh, BATHTIME. We've been chatting. We've been waffling for 116.
I enjoyed that one though.
Yeah, I think it's time to go. It's my eating time, innit? It's my time to eat. But yeah, what's this Asprilia? Oh, I know what he's talking about. I'm not even gonna put that one up. But look, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. A couple of thanks to the people in the background today. Appreciate for getting your votes up. Obviously, BATHTIME, it's good to have you back. I know we're gonna be missing each other the next couple of weeks, so yeah, I want to get my BATHTIMEisms in before before we go our separate ways. It's separate holidays, like before we come back when the start of the season. You know what I mean? Oh God,
yeah,
but look,
we'll meet up at pre-season training. It'll be fine. I'll watch Love Island. You'll have a lovely holiday.
oh Jesus, Love Island. I still don't know how you do it, but look, I'm not gonna knock your hustle. Whatever gets you through your day. I know Yabba is one of those fans as well. So yeah, no doubt the shows will be earlier, a lot shorter, a lot shorter, and a lot swifter with YouTube buggering up for that. But look, guys, we will be back tomorrow. It'll definitely be me and BATHTIME. Who else it is, we have absolutely no idea. But that's the organisation of the channel, and that's why you watch us.
That's with chaos. That's what we need in the football teams. We need chaos.
A little bit of organisation, but a lot of chaos. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Assisting with organised chaos works, man. So yeah, we'll go. What look, from me, it's a lack of notch from me.
It's a lack of notch from me.
Guys, we're up.